So I think if you look at the financial services space, if you look at reaching financial services to people at the base of the pyramid, for a long time there was microfinance. And by microfinance, we used to typically just talk about microcredit. But as things are evolving, we're seeing now that there's a lot of innovation happening. So on the product side, microfinance is now so much bigger than just credit. So we're seeing a lot more in terms of deposit products. We're seeing new micro insurance products coming in micro health insurance and micro crop insurance, obviously life. A lot of innovation taking place also in things like micro pensions. So the microfinance space has gotten a lot broader than it used to be. So that's on the product side. But also if you look at it from a delivery and distribution side, it used to be the typical sort of branch banking microfinance. But today, of course, with the advent of digital financial services, a lot of the MFIs are looking at how to use technology to provide their services and their products out to millions of people in remote rural areas with less transaction costs and with greater flexibility and convenience to their clients. So again, a lot of innovation taking place on the distribution and delivery side as well. I think if you look at it from the point of view of the clients, almost any poor person you talk to anywhere in the world will say to you that I would like access to credit and savings. So there are very few people out there who don't want access to basic financial products because the poor have very sophisticated financial lives and have a lot of vulnerability and a lot of fragility in the way they manage their money. So good, well-developed, well-designed products are needed anywhere by anybody. The thing is, how do we as institutions get it out to people in very remote rural areas, because the costs of transaction in these areas are very high. So we want to get products out to these people, but also make sure that they're affordable, they're designed well. So I think from the client point of view, the demand exists. From the institution point of view, how do we get it out there? Now, obviously, in the olden days with microfinance, there was a barrier. I mean, you could only set up microfinance branches where there would be viability of the branches. So you needed a certain population density. You needed a certain infrastructure. With the advent, again, of mobile financial services, of DFS more broadly, some of those transaction costs will come down over time. So we should be able to reach more rural, more remote areas with lower costs over time. Of course, there's still work to do because technology doesn't solve everything overnight. But I think the ability now is there, that the technology is there, that we can take those steps, we can start addressing some of those problems. So I would say the demand is there, the supply is the issue. But I think with the way technology is growing, with the way technology is getting cheaper over time, it's only a matter of time till we're able to reach almost everybody in any part of the world. So as BRAC, we always obviously look at what are the gaps that we're trying to fill. So we only work in areas where we think there's a gap that we can address. In the region, obviously, there is still a large gap in financial inclusion. So even in a country like Bangladesh, which is our largest country of operation, there is a very large and a very a very well mature microfinance industry. But even then, we see that there are 70 million adults without access, or I shouldn't say without access, but without an account with a regulated financial provider. So again, how do we close that gap of 70 million adults? If you look at the global landscape, there's more than 2 billion adults without an account with a formal financial institution. So there is a big gap still that needs to be closed. And again, we see technology as a big part of that problem, of addressing that problem, right? As a financial institution, as an MFI, we have a lot of knowledge of our clients. We have the trust of our clients. So even in the way that we integrate technology into our system, I think we're very well placed to do that and make technology work for the poor. And I think that's very important if you're going to close this very large gap.